And welcome. The business world in the UAE is going through a huge shift right now. A new compliance imperative has arrived and is fundamentally changing the rules of the game for every single company. So today, we're going to break down exactly what this means for you.
So let's just get right to it. Is your business truly ready for 2025? Because the way you've always managed your financials, well, it's just not going to cut it anymore. And that deadline, it's coming up way faster than you think.
All right, so let's dive right into what we're calling the new rulebook. We're going to start with the big fundamental changes that are literally reshaping, well, everything for businesses operating in the UAE.
Okay, so at the very heart of all this is the new federal corporate tax. And listen, this is not just another fee to pay. It's a complete systemic shift. It's a direct tax on your net earnings, which means getting your financial reporting spot on is, well, it's more critical than it has ever been.
Now, the rate itself is a pretty competitive 9% on taxable income over 375,000 dirhams. But here's the kicker, the really crucial part. It's all about how you calculate that taxable income. These rules, they're not optional anymore. And believe me, getting it wrong has some pretty significant consequences.
And this right here, this is the real key to the whole compliance puzzle, the IFRS mandate. What does that mean? It means for most businesses, your financial statements have to comply with international financial reporting standards. IFRS isn't just for the big global corporations anymore. Nope. It's now the official language you have to speak when you're filing your taxes.
And this slide, it just lays it all out so clearly. You can see we're moving from the old way, simpler bookkeeping, maybe an audit that was more of a formality, to this new reality. And this new reality demands global standards, serious documentation, real rigor. Your audit is no longer an afterthought. It's now an absolutely essential prerequisite before you can even think about filing your taxes.
Okay, so what is all this new regulation actually revealing about how businesses have been running things? Well, it's exposing what we're calling a pretty significant readiness gap.
These new laws are basically holding a giant magnifying glass up to some long-standing issues. We're talking about disorganized bookkeeping, inconsistent data, poor inventory management, weaknesses that, let's be honest, might have been manageable before, but now they carry some serious financial and legal risks.
And this brings us to a really critical concept: internal controls over financial reporting, or ICFR for short. Seriously, think of it like the internal safety net for your company's financial health. It's the whole system of checks and balances that make sure your data is reliable. And guess what? Regulators are now coming around to check if you even have one and if it actually works.
You know that old saying, a stitch in time saves 9? It has never been more true. Getting ahead of this, being proactive, fixing these gaps now, it's really the only way you're going to avoid much bigger, much more expensive headaches down the road. Just waiting for the auditors to show up? Yeah, that's not a strategy anymore.
Okay, so understanding there's a gap is one thing, but what are the real tangible consequences of not being ready? Let's really dig into the high stakes here.
So let's just take a look at this timeline, because the clock is absolutely ticking. The law kicked in back in mid-2023. For a lot of businesses, 2024 is your first financial year where you'll need these audited statements for the tax return that's due in September 2025. And then come early 2026, the FTA's audit powers get even stronger. The point is, these dates aren't some far-off thing on the horizon. They're right around the corner and they are all connected.
And the cost of being unprepared? It is severe. I mean, we're talking steep financial penalties, long and invasive tax audits, and a complete loss of confidence from your investors and lenders. Worst case, you could even be looking at a suspension of your trade license. This is so much bigger than just a fine. It can hit your reputation and your very ability to do business.
Okay, I know, this all sounds pretty daunting, right? But what if we flip the script a little? What if we reframe this entire challenge? Let's talk about how to turn this thing that feels like a burden into a genuine, powerful asset for your business.
This table really nails that shift in mindset. On one hand, you can see this whole thing as a burden, right? A necessary evil, a cost you're just trying to minimize with some last-minute scrambling. Or you can see it as an asset, an investment in your credibility, something you plan for strategically to actually unlock growth and build trust with everyone. It's a completely different way of looking at it, and that perspective changes everything.
Because think about it, when you have clean, IFRS-compliant, fully audited financials, you're not just ticking a box for the tax authority. You're building a rock-solid foundation for making smarter decisions yourself. You're sending a powerful signal to global investors that you are stable and competent. And That opens doors to new capital, new partnerships, a whole world of opportunity.
All right, so let's get practical. Let's talk about the path forward. This is your strategic roadmap to not just get through this, but to actually thrive in this new environment.
So here it is, a clear, 4-step plan to guide you through this. Step 1, do a proactive self-assessment. Get in there and find your own gaps before an auditor does it for you. Step 2, formalize your internal controls. Build and document that safety net we talked about. Step 3, don't be afraid to get expert help for the really technical stuff, like IFRS 9 or transfer pricing. And finally, Step 4, make audit prep a year-round thing. Weave it into your normal financial cycle. No more last-minute scrambling. When you break it down like this, what seems like a huge, complex challenge suddenly becomes a much more manageable process.
So we're going to end right back where we started, with a question for you. Now that you've seen the new rules, you understand the risks, and you have a roadmap, how are you going to approach this? Are you going to treat this new era of compliance as just another cost on the balance sheet? Or are you going to seize this opportunity and turn it into your next big competitive advantage? The choice, really, is yours.